1, I'm having a really good hair day. 2, the lighting is fantastic. 3, this thing is going on and I feel like I need to talk about it before something happens to it. You'll understand in a minute. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and this is going to be a different video than what I have been doing recently. I've been doing a lot of informative videos that take a lot of effort and research and everything, and I don't know what I was thinking when I decided to do all that. It's almost like it's work or something. I don't know what came over me, but this one's a little bit different because there's something going on that I want to talk about because it sort of factors into what I have been looking at as the overall purpose of this channel, as far as talking about issues and things that affect those of us who are middle-aged, especially middle-aged women and beyond middle age. And there is something going on right now that sort of speaks to the heart of some of what I'm looking at and what is affecting me and what I'd like to talk about. And that is that Keanu Reeves has a girlfriend. Yay! Who is only 9 years younger. And is 46 years old and has gray hair and appears to have a fairly natural appearance, and everybody is losing it over this. And it's fascinating for so many reasons on so many levels. So that is what I wanted to talk about. I read a few days ago an article in Vox, and I just took a look at some other stuff, particularly in an article on the Salon website, both addressing this idea of Keanu Reeves dating an age-appropriate woman. There are so many things going on there. So first of all, let me lay a foundation here for you. I am actually 2 years older than his purported girlfriend. I don't know that he's come out and actually said that they're dating. Not that he needs to, he doesn't need to, but they've showed up, particularly at this one event, holding hands and looking somewhat romantic, so that's wonderful and lovely. He's been through a lot of crap. She seems like an amazing person. She's an artist. She's been a business partner with him. She's been an artistic partner with him. They've been friends for several years, so this is lovely. If they actually are dating, if that is absolutely true, and this isn't some sort of ruse, that's a lovely thing. I think it's great. Well, people are going nuts over the fact that she is so-called age-appropriate, which is fascinating to me because I am 2 years older than her, and she, at 46, is still 9 years younger than Keanu. So she's still a younger woman, technically, but because she looks older, and a lot of it is down to her looks, and that's one of the things I want to dissect here, and just talk about and get it out, because as you can tell from looking at me, I am currently not coloring my hair. I stopped coloring my hair several years ago because I just got really lazy, got tired of it, didn't want to deal with it anymore, and decided to just go totally natural. I've also had no work done on my face, mostly because I can't afford it, but also I am now making more of a conscious decision to really think about having any kind of, as you call it, work done beyond just the financial aspect, because we have gotten so used to seeing women appear younger. And so much of that is societally based. I've talked about the fear of aging, the fear-mongering about aging, and how many the advertising things are done, how many advertising campaigns and marketing campaigns and things like that are done to try to make people afraid of aging and buy certain products or have certain procedures done, on and on from there. And how they use this fear of aging because we live in a youth-obsessed society. Western society overall, especially in the United States, is very youth-obsessed. And when you get into the entertainment industry that Keanu is part of, it becomes even more hyper-youthful and hyper-obsessed with youth, especially for women, most especially for women. And I'm not going to say that men don't get any pressure in that area, but it is far more common to be pressured on women to look a certain way and to color their hair, to have procedures done, whether that be Botox or facelifts or whatever, things that can be done to help the face especially look younger. We're really pressured to do that. And it's seeping out from the entertainment industry. A lot of these things take root in the entertainment industry and then they go out from there. So there's this idea this stereotype of a woman in her 40s who really doesn't look like she's in her 40s, because that's considered a good thing, to not look like you're in your 40s. It's almost like we're offended if somebody's, correctly guesses our age, or even, God forbid, guesses over our age. We want to appear younger. Like, that somehow makes us better human beings. And of course it doesn't. It doesn't make you any better of a human being because you look one way as opposed to another. And people are saying that Alexandra Grant, looks like a 46-year-old woman. Can somebody please tell me what a 46-year-old woman is supposed to look like? We look all sorts of different ways. Women in our 40s, especially late 40s, we can look many different ways. But I understand what they're saying in some ways, because, and this is something that I've started to notice as I've started looking at these things, as I've been doing these videos and talking more about aging and women aging, and especially as I'm thinking about going back into the entertainment industry and knowing I'm going to deal with some of these attitudes. There's this, go out and look at all the women that you see, and what you'll probably start to notice is that an awful lot of them are probably coloring their hair. Coloring our hair has become a very normal thing. We don't really expect to see women with totally natural hair. That's something that has almost become an anomaly, to see a woman who hasn't had her hair dyed or isn't dyeing her hair currently. That has become an outlier as opposed to the coloring, and that of course is flipped from when hair coloring first came into vogue in like the 40s and 50s, when it first came on the market, when they started to put out hair coloring kits, especially for home use, 50s, 60s, 70s. And at that time, of course, fewer women colored their hair simply because it wasn't part of a cultural norm. Now it has flipped to the point where it's become such a cultural norm, we aren't used to seeing women with gray hair. Most people start to go gray in their 30s to some degree. They'll get a few gray hairs here and there. Some people even go gray earlier. Some people may go gray later, but for the vast majority of people, it happens somewhere in their 30s where that'll start. And as they get into their 40s and then 50s, 60s, it becomes more and more gray. So it's a totally natural, normal part of aging. And yet, because we've gotten so used to seeing people, especially women, with colored hair, to see a woman who doesn't immediately seems to skew older to our eyes. Like, she must be older. There are people who say that Alexandra Grant looks older than Keanu Reeves, and a lot of that is due to her appearance, because she has silver hair, and it appears that she's not. She appears to be a natural woman as far as her face goes and all of that. She's a beautiful woman. People are making all these comments about it, and they're acting like Keanu Reeves is brave for dating a woman who is close to him in age. Like, that is something to be termed a brave act. That's crazy. That's insane. But you look at so many of the men in the entertainment industry with high profile relationships, and we're just so used to seeing that age disparity. Leonardo DiCaprio is probably one of the most egregious examples of this. His girlfriends are always like 20 years younger at least. Dennis Quaid apparently just got engaged to a woman who's almost 40 years his junior. There's nothing wrong with an age disparity with people, with a couple, but this idea that the women who are desired are always younger, or look younger if they're not actually younger, is something that's so ingrained in us, and so ingrained especially in the entertainment and film industry, that it's soul crushing, especially as a woman who is in her 40s, late 40s, very close to 50, to know that this is what people think of me, that we're past our prime, or somebody's brave for being seen in public with us. How ridiculous is that? So talk about a few points of these articles. They're really, really good. And I'm going to link them down in the description box below, because I think they are worth a read. I just think they're making some really good points, and they're bringing up some really good things that we need to think about, especially with regards to female appearance and ageism, and this idea that women are supposed to look a certain way, and that relationships, especially in the entertainment industry, need to appear a certain way, that those relationships need to appear in a certain way, with the woman looking a certain way, and otherwise it's something totally out of the norm. So, with regards to the article in Vox, one of the things that really struck me was they're quoting various people talking about this relationship, and one of the quotes is how much of a relief it is to see a woman boldly looking her literal age while holding hands with one of Hollywood's most established leading men. But this same site, Paper, ran with the headline, Keanu Reeves has an age-appropriate girlfriend. And then they point out that at 46, Alexandra Grant is 9 years younger than Reeves, who's 55. So keep that in mind. She is still younger, but because she looks the way she does, and because they are actually somewhat 9 years is still somewhat close. I mean, it's a lot closer than almost 40. So this is a reason for comment. Here's another really good quote. Whitney Cummings pointed out on Tuesday, the fact that some people are mistaking Keanu Reeves' age-appropriate girlfriend with Helen Mirren is wild. In Hollywood, if you're not 24, you might as well be 70. Isn't that so true? We've become so used to seeing this altered, younger-ish appearance of women, especially women, that when we see someone who hasn't done that, who hasn't colored the hair, who hasn't had work done, whatever that work might be, who appears really natural and has just let herself age as nature would have it, we can't correctly gauge what that looks like. Like I said, a lot of people are looking at her and thinking she's older than Keanu, which is wild because obviously she's not, and she's younger than him. But this idea that we can't even correctly gauge someone's age anymore, because we're so used to seeing this altered appearance, and yet women are often judged really negatively for changing their appearance. People talk about women as though they're lying if they're wearing makeup or coloring their hair or doing things to make themselves appear younger. That's a bad thing, and yet we judge women harshly if they don't. So it's like you can't win. You're between a rock and a hard place, as the saying goes. If you alter your appearance to appear younger, you're lying. If you don't, you look old and you haven't taken care of yourself and you've let yourself go. I mean, can we pick a lane here, folks? Can we say it's okay? And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with coloring your hair. I'm actually thinking about coloring my hair so that it looks more gray, because yes, I want it to look more gray. I'd love it to look more like up here at the front where it's like almost pure silver. It's kind of salt and pepper right now. I would love for it to be just all gray. So I'm thinking about going that route, maybe with like a really light lavender or just something fun, just to play around a little bit. So I have no problem with the coloring of the hair. You know, if you want to have Botox or lip injections or a facelift or whatever, that's fine. But to think of that as the normal is troubling and problematic for so many reasons. And that is something that I'm probably going to continue to explore outside of this whole situation here, because women's appearance is so fraught with negativity and with stereotyping and with these no-win situations where if you do something, you're damned. If you don't do it, you're even more damned. And there's no in between. There's no like, you can do whatever you want, it's okay. You're going to get judged no matter which one you choose. So, and the article goes on to talk about in the movies. So let's move away from real life into the movies, where so many times we see older actors, male actors, paired with younger women, in some cases much younger women. There's actually something to comment on when we see a movie where two people are quote-unquote age-appropriate to each other, where you have an older couple where they're both older. There was a film a few years ago that came out with Julie Christie, who was playing a woman who was suffering from the onset of dementia. And that was a remarkable film, partly because they were a couple who were both older, who were getting older together. And that is something that isn't always celebrated in the film industry. It's not always celebrated in our popular culture, because we just find it fascinating. We like younger people. There's this attitude, maybe not we, I shouldn't say that. There's a certain person who's behind these movies who likes to see the younger woman. Older women are just not as bankable, not as attractive to some people because we're older, but this is what we look like. I mean, this is what a 48-year-old woman looks like. One 48-year-old woman. Let's remember that. They talk about her looking 46. What the heck is does a 46-year-old woman look like? We can look like all sorts of things. A lot of it depends on your socioeconomic level. It depends on what you have been able to afford, what kind of information you've had, what kind of diet have you been able to have over the years. So many things. I mean, there are so many things that go into our appearance, and genetics. I mean, we can't leave that out because there are some people who are just genetically blessed to look, quote unquote, younger than their age, whatever that means. And we look all sorts of different ways. I, as a 48-year-old woman, look different from other 48-year-old women. And that doesn't make any of us bad or wrong or whatever. It's just that we all look different, but it's this idea of an unaltered appearance that we just have a really hard time with because we're not used to it, even in just our regular culture. Like I said, I've been noticing, especially today, I started to notice, because I knew I was going to talk about this, I started to notice, looking at women and sort of looking at, especially at faces, and you can a lot of times tell, you can't always understand that, some people go gray at different rates. But I'm guessing that a lot of the women who have wrinkles, especially who have more wrinkles than me, are probably older than me, and yet so many of them don't have gray hair, which I find very interesting. And I find myself wondering, I wonder if she colors her hair. What do you want to bet she colors her hair? We've just gotten so used to it that to see someone with natural hair is almost jarring sometimes, and especially in this milieu of the entertainment industry and Hollywood. It's just, it's something that we have to comment on because we're so not used to it. And that should stop, because I think beauty can appear in many different forms, and I'm certainly not going to say that people who alter their appearance are not beautiful, but I think there is a certain kind of beauty to those who have not done that, who have let nature take its course, who are okay with the fact that things change. As a 46 or 48-year-old woman, you don't look like a 27-year-old. And that's fine. That's okay. That's the way nature meant for it to be. You're not supposed to look the same from one decade to the next. Sometimes even from 1 year to the next, or 1 6-month period to the next. We change and we don't look the same, and that's all right. And to expect that women look preternaturally younger all the time is just, it's ridiculous. It's disappointing, and I think it needs to change, and it would be so nice if those of us who are working on that feeling of being comfortable in our own skin, being comfortable looking this way, being comfortable with looking the way nature is making us look, with a little bit of help, maybe with some good skincare, some good nutrition, exercise, things like that. Those are all things that a lot of us have within our control, but, don't expect that every woman should be going out there and coloring her hair and having procedures done and doing all these things to make herself, encourage herself, hopefully, to look younger, but be okay with looking like a 48-year-old woman who's taken care of herself and has treated herself well as she can, and this is what she looks like, and that's okay. So let's not make that weird. Let's not make that the anomaly. Let's be okay with women looking this way, and not make a big deal about an age-appropriate relationship where the woman is still 9 years younger. Let's not forget that. Oh, and just as a little aside, I was actually looking at the Salon article in these last few minutes, so now I'm going to move over to the Vox article. Like I said, I'm going to link both of those down below because I think they both make really, really good points. But, so now going over to the Vox article also makes some really interesting points about this whole idea of age-appropriate and the way she looks and how she, looks natural and unbotoxed and et cetera, et cetera. And let's also not forget that she appears to be a very accomplished person from what you can find out about her online. She's an artist. She has started an art-based charity. She's worked with Keanu on she worked with him on, I believe it's a couple of different books. Is that correct? Yes, they worked together on a book, and then they also co-founded an art-focused publishing press. So she is a really accomplished person. So this is not just Keanu Reeves' girlfriend. This is a woman who is accomplished and talented and has apparently some amazing talent behind her. So let's not reduce her to just being Keanu Reeves' girlfriend. Let's understand that Keanu Reeves is her boyfriend. Why aren't we looking at it that way? Instead of saying she's Keanu Reeves' girlfriend, I mean, we're not talking about Keanu Reeves being her boyfriend. it's not being presented that way, is it? I realize that's partly because way more of us know who Keanu Reeves is, but anyways, something to keep in mind. So the Vox article references this idea that she is getting a lot of attention for being the age she is, as much as being in a relationship with Keanu. They are looking at her appearance, at her silver hair, at her face, which is, again, beautiful, but does not appear to have had any, whatever you want to call it, work done. She looks very natural. They're remarking on this, and that people are remarking on this phenomenon. And again, she is 9 years younger than him. And this is the article that does talk about how most genders start going gray in their 30s, and by their 40s, a lot of people are fully gray, mostly are fully gray. So being gray is not, I mean, that's a natural thing, but we're used to seeing people not look gray until they're older, especially women again. So many women will cover their hair until perhaps their 50s or 60s, and then they'll start to taper off from that because maybe they get tired of it. It's a lot of upkeep, etc., etc. But that's when they start. So we have this perception of a woman who's gray must be in her 60s or 70s or older than that, because, well, what self-respecting woman in her 30s or 40s would be gray? Well, because a lot of people in those age ranges are gray. We're just not used to seeing it because it's covered up, because there is this standard of beauty that we've impressed on women, that they're supposed to look a certain way. And I am going to make at least one video, maybe more than that. I may have more to say than just will fit in one video about gray hair, because obviously I've gone through this process, and it's very interesting to see how the world reacts to you as a gray-haired person as opposed to a non-gray-haired person. It's interesting. So, and people assume that if you have gray hair, you're all stressed out. Well, no, it really has, I mean, maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know. I haven't looked that deeply into it, but it's just a natural thing that happens. Our hair loses its pigment and we go gray. It's natural. Almost everybody does it. Very few people do not naturally stay non-gray. Just doesn't happen to most of us. Most of us go gray. It's a totally normal and natural thing. We're just not used to seeing women go gray at the age that they naturally go gray at. Follow me here? All right. So in this Vox article, they quote a tweet in here about people are being gross about Alexandra Grant, saying she can't possibly be 46 because her hair is gray. I'm 31 and my hair is mostly gray. Having gray hair at 46 is perfectly normal. Y'all are just too used to women not being allowed to age. And I love that choice of words, not being allowed to age. So true. The amount of people assuming that Keanu Reeves' new girlfriend, Alexandra, is a granny just because she's got gray hair proves how conditioned women are to appear youthful at all times. Absolutely appalled by some of the things I've seen. So yes, this idea that you're not allowed to really be gray until you get older because we want you to appear youthful, but then we're still going to judge you for trying to appear youthful because you're lying. Good grief, it's so ridiculous. And he's being praised for dating someone close to his age. What have we come to that this is something to be praised for? Amazing. All right, I think that's about all for right now. I think I've kind of talked myself out. I've probably gone over some things several times. Just wanted to lay that all out there for you. It's something I really wanted to comment on, and I think part of what's really struck me was how people are reacting to her appearance at 46, and I'm 48, and just thinking about how they're reacting to her makes me wonder how people are going to react to me as I go back into that entertainment world that demands that women look so young. It's a little disheartening, but I'd like to think that we could maybe make some change in all of that and encourage the entertainment industry and encourage other industries. It's not just the entertainment industry where women get judged harshly for looking their age, for graying, for, not having procedures done to look more youthful. This idea that women are not allowed to age. We're supposed to stay young looking until we hit, 60, 65, and then we're allowed to look old. Let's understand that nature does its thing, and that's just totally fine. It's okay. It doesn't make somebody a bad person if they look their age, and it doesn't make somebody better if they don't. that doesn't tell us what you are on the inside. That doesn't tell us what kind of human being you are. That doesn't tell us anything about your talent, your quality as a human, or any of that. You can be a beautiful person and still be a garbage human. So I just wanted to lay that out there. I know this was a weird one. This is a very strange, offbeat one. But I'd like to do more of them. I'd like to do more commentary. I like watching a lot of these commentary videos about various aspects of society and the entertainment industry, beauty community, all of that. I find them fascinating. And I don't see a whole lot of that coming from women in my age cohort, age range, whatever you want to call it. So I would like to do more. If there are any subjects that you're interested in that are fascinating to you, pop them into the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys think of this. Do you think it's ridiculous? Do you like this? The reaction to her being age appropriate and yet still being 9 years younger, the reaction to her appearance, just the reaction of society and the entertainment industry to women looking their age, whatever that means. What do you think about that? Or anything to do with any of this? Maybe I'm missing some stuff. Maybe there are other things that have caught your attention about this. I would love to hear that. Would love to get some comments going about that, because I find this fascinating, because I'm right there in that with her. And yeah, I'm kind of curious what you all think, and I'm kind of curious to continue seeing how this all plays out and how people react to it. It's just fascinating. And I guess a lot of it's because I'm 2 years older than her. So I mean, if they're reacting that way to her, how in the world might they react to me? I'm a little scared. So thanks so much for being here. Your throwback track, why don't we do, because we're talking about a relationship, David Bowie's Modern Love. I remember that from the 80s. I forget the release date, but I'll put that down in the description box. I think it's, I remember it so well. That was when MTV was actually music television. I remember watching that video over and over because it was the thing when it came out. So yeah, David Bowie's Modern Love, because we're talking about a relationship. And let's not forget that it's just lovely to see two people who are very happy together, who seem very well suited to each other. I think that's lovely. And let's not make it all about age and appearance and everything. So thanks so much for being here, and let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you later.